Cole Spence is emerging as a dominant force at tight end, and this could help Vandy's offense become more explosive.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. At this point in fall camp, Vandy has now unveiled a new uniform combination, the icy whites. We'll talk about that. The defense is starting to click. That's exciting. Offensively, the wide receiver group is still trying to find some answers, but one of those guys starting to lead the group is Junior Sherrill, and he's in first position to actually start at slot. However, the new identity of this offense lives in the run game, and in order for it to be more explosive, it's going to need to feature a dominant tight end. Cole Spence is emerging as that dominant force. So the main identity of the offense, right, is, of course, the run game. Okay, and this offense is looking to be more explosive. And in order to create explosive plays, there's a number of things that need to happen. A dominant run game can lead to explosive plays. And I don't want people to get confused. Oftentimes they do, where when you hear the term explosive plays, you think long bomb passes down the sideline or over the middle for large chunks of yards. But an explosive play could be a 15 to 20 yard run. An explosive play could be a 5-yard hitch that turns into a 20-yard gain. Those type of things also are explosive chunk plays. And in order to do that, I think with what Vandy's identity is being in the run game, I think a dominant tight end will help open things up because you have a receiver group that's struggling, okay? And we don't need to cherry coat that or sugarcoat that. It's that group is struggling as a whole. Now, there's some guys that are emerging. There's some singular guys out there, but it's not enough. Right now, they need to find some answers. They need to find some rhythm, chemistry, whatever it is. They need to find it, right? But what's going to really make this offense go outside of a run game is a dominant tight end. And right now, I think Vandy has two of them. We talked about Eli Stowers and what he means athletically to the position, but I think Cole Spence is going to be that emerging dominant force at tight end because he's 6'7", 250 pounds, and he's going to be a factor as an inline tight end. He's going to be a factor in the run game as a blocker. That much is true. He's going to create some explosive plays just by blocking in the run game, but also being a massive target. He's going to be featured in RPO, tight end screens, those stick route, which is a inside hitch route where you're finding a window, things like that. Like, he's going to help this offense become a lot more explosive. I think things are going to happen because there's going to be people drawn to him. He's a big 6'7" target. B, you can go 12 personnel, have him as an inline tight end, split Eli Stowers out. You have bigger personnel, which means if you throw some things to Eli Stowers, he might be able to break some tackles because what corner is going to want to tackle a tight end? Also, you have a big target in the middle, and then of course he'll make some catches himself. And so I think when you look at the style of play and you look at what makes this offense go, philosophy-wise, you have to look at it from the inside out. And it starts with run, QB run, tight end. And it's all kind of gelled into one because there's some RPO plays. And if you go back and listen to the episode where I nerded out a little bit and did some breakdowns, you'll see just exactly how they're going to feature the tight end in the run game. It's going to be that RPO where the tight end slips across the formation. They run inside zone. Let's call it inside zone left, where they have the tight end on the left side to the play side, and he runs behind the line of scrimmage and pops out the other side. You read the defensive end. You either pull it and throw it to the tight end, or you give it on the run. And just him being that big target help that. And Eli Stowers would be great at that too. But, Cole Spence, again, has been showing out in practice. He's been dominant in the run game. He's been a really big target and a safety valve for these quarterbacks. I think he's going to be a quarterback's best friend. So whichever one of these quarterbacks, Nate Johnson or Diego Pavia, develops a rapport with him, I think is going to be sitting in the driver's seat to win this quarterback job, because right now neither one of them are grabbing it and running with it. So it's going to take a lot of different things to really kind of get some distance within this quarterback battle. So having a reliable tight end will do so, and having a reliable tight end in the run game will also help take care of outside runs. It'll help take care of power where you have to lock down a defensive end. It will also help if you want to go bigger personnel too. You can put Cole Spence as an inline guy, and he's gonna thrive just perfectly. So I'm really excited. I think when you look at this offense and how it's constructed, it's going to be tight end heavy. That should, if you're Cole Spence, that should, he's finally healthy, and that's a testament to the new strength and conditioning program, the new training regimen that goes with eating and running and agility and all that stuff. He's finally healthy, and he's finally, seems like as of right now, he's finally playing to his potential. And this is what Vandy was hoping for when they signed him, and this is what Vandy was hoping for when they brought in Clark Lee. They were hoping for a physical, run first, dominate you physically type identity, and it seems like they're now finally able to get that. So, but Cole Spence, man, I just wanted to shout out how he was becoming a really big driving force in this offense. And, I think with this passing attack, you have to start small. You have to start with quick game. You have to start with RPOs, because that's where the strength of the quarterbacks lie. And when the quarterbacks are struggling, what is a good reset? The tight end, right? Look at it at the NFL level. When Patrick Mahomes, I'll even give it to you at the highest of the high level, NFL. Probably the best quarterback in the NFL in the last 20 years, Patrick Mahomes. What does he do when he's in trouble? Who does he look for? That's right, Travis Kelce. Who does Brock Purdy look to in a pinch? George Kittle, right? He finds George Kittle, and that resets things. And it now it allows him to get outside to Debo, to Brandon Ayuk, and then back to the run game with Christian McCaffrey, and then it all kind of works in a cycle, right? Same with Kansas City. They're able to now go back to Pacheco. They're able to now, they don't, obviously these teams don't run their quarterbacks, but they're able to get back into what they do best with the tight end reset, right? The Patriots did it with Gronk. Every great team has a great tight end. I mean, when the Eagles won the Super Bowl that year, they had Nick Foles. Guess who he had at tight end? That was a great reset. Zach Ertz, right? And those guys allow these offenses to reset if they're not clicking. You find a tight end on an easy 5-yard throw, and he turns it into a 12-yard gain for a first down. That gives you a little bit of energy, and you can keep coming back to these guys, and they'll keep re-energizing your offense. And so now, the run game bogs down a little bit. You loosen them up with a couple of throws, a throw here, a throw there, and then most of the time featuring your tight end. You have some sort of misdirection play that your tight end is running across and making a catch on a screen, or you just run a play to where your tight end's pulling up through the hole and you just completely blast somebody, which I think Cole Spence is going to be able to do. So the reason for all of those examples is this. Cole Spence and Eli Stowers is going to be a great 1-2 punch to really be able to hit the reset button. Okay. A college version example of this, and I'm in no way comparing anybody to Brock Bowers, because Brock Bowers is not human. And he's an alien, and I know he's a Georgia player. So shout out to him. And, he's one of a kind. So don't think I'm saying, oh, well, Eli Stowers is like Brock Bowers. Stylistically, when you look at Cole Spence and you look at Eli Stowers, you see a combination. You have a speed guy in Eli Stowers, and you have a big guy in Cole Spence. Georgia tried that 2 years ago with Brock Bowers and Darnell Washington. Speed guy, huge guy. How did that fare for them? Well, they won a national championship. That wasn't the only reason, but it helped. And so you get that kind of thing where the big guy is not just a blocker, he's viable in the passing game as well. So you should be very excited about Cole Spence. He's going to be a dominant force because he's just a big guy. He's going to be a great blocker. He's going to be great at pulling. He's going to be great at running tight end screens, and he's going to be good in the short and intermediate passing game, running crossing routes, stick routes, dig routes, just things to kind of allow Pavia or allow Nate Johnson to hit the reset button and get you a first down in the meantime. So that's going to just look out for that. The tight end is going to be the true X factor of this offense. This offense is going to go as the tight end goes because it's going to open up things in the run game. Or if things are already open in the run game and they close down, it's a good reset. And then it'll help kind of bridge that gap while you're trying to figure out which of these receivers is going to emerge. Eventually, one of these receivers is going to emerge. Junior Sherrill being one of them, Quincy Skinner being one of them. I think those are the two guys that early on we can kind of count on. Junior Sherrill especially. These two guys, Sherrill and Skinner, are the only guys that have experience, game experience in a Vanderbilt uniform at that wide receiver position. So those are the two guys you got to lean on. Junior Sherrill, man, from what I'm hearing, he's emerging as a leader and he's emerging as the number one slot player. We'll talk about him more in depth next. All right, this episode is brought to you by Gametime. Did you know that Gametime is the authorized ticket marketplace for Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier? Prices on the Gametime app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. So when you're looking through it, there's some really cool stuff. The sounds are playing. They have last-minute deals, man. You save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, and theater. Flash deals, like you open the app and there's just a deal sitting right there for you, right? On select seats. That's a cool feature. Zone deals. I really like this. You can go, you know what? I don't really know exactly what seat I want. It's overwhelming. There's a lot of seats in this section. All right, I just want to sit in section 124. And Gametime will pick the seats, and they give you a discount for that because they're like, hey, you're trusting us with your experience. We're going to give you a good price. All in pricing allows you to see the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Seat views. I love this feature. You get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. Now, Gametime does have the lowest price guarantee, or get this, Gametime will credit you with 110% of the difference. Now, Gametime also has elite stellar ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So 3 adjectives to describe their ticket coverage. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code Locked On. That's LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen of the day. For your second listen, enjoy the Locked On College Football podcast. Spencer McLaughlin gets you ready for an exciting season on the gridiron with discussion on upcoming season and the ever-changing landscape of college athletics, including conference realignment, the transfer portal, NIL, and new college football expanded playoffs, and more. Locked On College Football is available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Speaking of you everydayers, thank you for making us your first listen every day. Thank you for everything that you do. I really, truly appreciate it. So let's keep it rolling. Okay. Now, Junior Sherrill, let's talk about him for a second. Now, this is a guy that I am absolutely fired up, and I mean that genuinely. I am absolutely fired up that he's somebody that is starting to emerge. I was worried a little bit when you saw all these transfers come in. You saw Micah Bell, who I was very high on. He hasn't really done much. He's going to be extremely situational. The transfer from corner to wide receiver has been a little bit of a rocky one for him so far, unfortunately. But Vanderbilt, he was a freshman last year. Junior Sherrill, he stayed on, but he had some really good moments throughout the down the stretch in the season, and he's looking to kind of produce on that. And this is going to be a big season here. He's likely going to get an expanded role. Probably last year he didn't think he was going to be in this position because he wasn't sure if those other guys were going to transfer. They did. So now he was left, and Coach Lee, Coach Beck, they went out and got all these receivers. And you know what Junior Sherrill did? Instead of going, you know what? Nah, I'm not feeling this. I'm going to transfer too. They're bringing all these guys out. I don't, whatever. He said, no, I am staying. I am going to be the most vocal guy in the room. I am the Vanderbilt guy. I'm going to show these other guys, right? I'm going to show these other guys. So it is, he's going to lead the pack. Now, he's doing a hell of a job doing that. He's like I said, going to be starting, slated to start in the slot this year, which is exciting because, again, he's a great player, loyal guy, great leader in the practice field, and got some pretty good burst to burn. And I think he'll factor in. I think whoever was going to be the slot receiver will factor into special teams in the return game. Obviously, jet sweeps and things like that that slot receivers are really good at. I think he'll be able to fit that bill. Now, again, if you look at his stats from last year, don't do that because it's just going to disappoint you because the stats just aren't that good for him last year. He didn't play as much. He had three stars ahead of him, and he didn't really get much run until the end of the season. But right now, he's taken this wide receiver group over. I think the leadership has been there, especially with the development of Tristan Brown, the freshman, and the freshman from Lipscomb Academy. He is quoted, "My young buck," Sherrill says of Brown. "I like to pour into him as much as I can, give him all the game, give him all the knowledge, and I see myself in him when I was younger." Right. So, I think that being that guy out front is giving Tristan Brown a little bit of confidence and a little bit of like, hey, I have questions. I know this guy's not going to bully me. I know this guy's here to help. He just wants to win football games. And if I can help us win football games in any way, I'll do so. And I think this is great because I think this is setting a tone for the team. Now, this team, from what I gather, lacked leadership because there was nobody in the locker room to say, hey, we need to get our blankety blank together. Right. Or, hey, it's okay. Let's keep working. Let's keep plugging. This is how, these are the things you can do. Let's work. Let's do X. Let's do Y. Let's do Z. Right. I don't think there was a lot of people saying that kind of stuff because like Junior Sherrill being fourth or fifth in line behind some older star guys, it just doesn't hit the same when you're trying to lead from the fifth on the depth chart. It just doesn't hit the same, unfortunately. It should, but it doesn't. Right now, he's in a bigger role. He's bearing the responsibility of being that leader, and I think he's taking to it quite nicely. And honestly, with his skill set, he's going to be a big time contributor within this offense. I mean, every practice report I'm reading, everything that I'm seeing coming from Vanderbilt's practices is telling me that Junior Sherrill is going to be the go-to guy. Now, lucky for him, lucky for the receivers, I don't think there's going to be a lot of pressure on his shoulders. Any pressure that he has is probably going to be self-inflicted. Is putting more pressure on himself than the team is going to put pressure on him because the identity of this offense, fortunately, does not go through the wide receivers. It fortunately does not rely on having an elite slot guy. And I say Sherrill's not elite, but I should add the word yet to it because he started to produce at the end of the year. Like I said, he is somebody that really came on strong and gave you confidence of, hey, we've got some options here at the receiving spot. And then when everybody mass exited us out, he stayed. And now that gives us a really good option at the slot position. He can do just about everything. And I couldn't be more excited about that. So Junior Sherrill emerging as a phenomenal leader for this team. You should get excited about this. He's going to lead that group. And you're going to see some guys play well because he's motivating that group. And you're going to see some separation there of guys that are buying in, guys that aren't buying in, guys that aren't developing, so on and so forth. So it's going to be a fun group to watch develop. Right now they're struggling a little bit, I'll be honest, but it's going to be fun to watch them kind of emerge. And Junior Sherrill's at the top of that pile of emerging wide receivers and hopefully bringing a few with him. And that'll be exciting. So, but the defense also, speaking of exciting things, speaking of identities, the identity of this team is run game and defense. Defense, start of the year, not clicking, but no one panicked. No one should have panicked. And now they're starting to click. They're starting to figure some things out on defense. They're starting to figure out, hey, we're going to rotate a lot of guys on the defensive line. That's going to be by design. So it really doesn't matter who starts there. The linebackers are playing really good right now, playing really well. They're being forces both in the run game and the pass game. They had the last practice out. They had a phenomenal red zone period to start off practice. It was a highly competitive period with a lot of energy, a lot of juice. So they're getting after that. So they're clicking, man. That's the point. And I'm going to go more on that here next. Yeah, welcome back, man. Like I said, the defense is clicking. They're flying around. They're making plays. I think this is a safety group this is probably the best safety group collection-wise that Vanderbilt has had in quite some time with C.J. Taylor, Randon Fontenette, DeRicky Wright, Dante Carter, Maurice Hampton, Marlon Sewell. Like, I think there's a lot of options for a lot of different positions, a lot of different roles for the safety group. The corner group has some guys that they're developing, they're emerging. We don't know exactly who, we don't know exactly when and where just yet, but those cornerbacks, they're like the receivers. There's guys, we just don't know which one of them are going to emerge. But Colby Taylor's likely going to be one of them. Trudell Berry could be one of them. Taco Wright is really trying to make a case for himself, so you never know. Linebacking core, those guys are, like I said before, those guys are just flying around. Langston Patterson leading that crew, but Brian Longwell, Bryce Cowan, Prince Colley, they're all just stepping up and just they're getting after it, man. This defense is going to be a beauty to watch, right? You're going to have good edge guys, good defensive linemen. I think you're going to see a very stingy defense, especially in the red zone. You're going to see a defense that's not just going to be paper mache. I think with the new strength program, as I said about Cole Spence at the top of the show, I think with the new strength program, these guys are going to last longer. They're going to be stronger. They're going to be faster, and they're going to be more confident, more competitive. And I think you could tell at times that this defensive line a year ago quit. I know that sounds harsh, but their will was just broken. And I don't think they had a good training program, truthfully. I don't think they were. I think they were underdeveloped. I don't think they were, the transfers obviously are standing out immediately because they don't know that they're supposed to suck, right? And I think you have the entire media world telling you that you suck. I'm talking about for the Vandy guys that were on the team last year. The whole media world's telling you you're supposed to suck. People around campus are probably telling you you're supposed to suck and that you suck. There's coaches that don't believe in the game plans probably. There's people checking out. The teams you're playing against are starting to embarrass you now a little bit. I mean, you go on the road to Las Vegas and get embarrassed by UNLV. Like, there's no identity. There's no toughness. There's no nothing We don't know what we're trying to do on defense. Like it's a mess. But fast forward to this year, it is so night and day difference. You had a couple of transfers, a new strength coordinator, a new way of scheming with Clark Lee, a new, faster, cleaner, more precise way of scheming, and you get a totally different look from this defensive line. Now you got guys flying around. They're making a difference in their run game. They're disrupting blocking schemes. They're making tackles in the backfield, tackles for loss. They would be getting sacks if they were allowed to hit the quarterback. And they're really just – their job is to wreak havoc on the blocking schemes and to open up opportunities for linebackers. And they're doing their job to the T, man. They're open. These linebackers are able to roam free because these linemen are eating up blocks and cutting off blocking angles and making things difficult for the offensive linemen, which is great for our defense. It's also, I don't want to see our offensive line struggle, but practice number 6, it's good to see them struggle because this is what you practice for, right? You get the film on. It looks ugly. It's terrible to read, but they're getting the work. They're getting better. They're facing a defensive line that's giving them fits. They need to see those situations. And the same with the defensive line. Like when the defensive line was getting pushed around, getting whipped, whatever, they saw what an offense is trying to do, an explosive offense, and they were trying to see how they needed to adjust. And it looks like they've watched film. It appears that they've done so. It seems like they know what to do now to adjust. So this is great. This is great stuff, man. Like linebackers are starting to figure out coverages and where they need to be. They're starting to figure out. And part of this is just them knowing what Vandy does offensively. It's part of them knowing the scheme. I think that helps a little bit. But they are still developing their anticipatory skills because when they watch film, they're going to watch like, hey, the offense, they're going to watch for little tendencies, situational tendencies, formation tendencies, stance tendencies, physical tendencies. They're going to see all that stuff. They're going to learn a new way to watch film. It's going to be cleaner, more precise, and they're going to be able to know what's coming. They're going to be able to diagnose it quicker, and they're going to be able to make the plays a lot more effectively. And when they can do that, that's what that builds, confidence. And when you have confidence, you're a totally different team. And I think this is a team that's not going to be broken easily. Now, I do think there are some teams on the schedule that have the capability of breaking Vanderbilt. And that's the truth as of right now, unfortunately. But that's still the truth. There's teams capable of that because they're just loaded, like Texas. Although Texas just lost a key player today, so that's never exciting to lose a key player. But if you're somebody that wants to have a chance of winning the game, it is that news does not suck, but it does suck for CJ Baxter, and we're with him. And Texas is loaded, man. They'll be fine. Next man up, but you hate to see that for CJ Baxter, man. He worked so hard to get to this point, and his season's over. So that sucks, man. But all right, last thing before we go, we're talking about defense. How would you like to see your defense flying around, especially CJ Taylor, flying around in these? Yeah, those are sick, dude. Those are absolutely filthy. Right? Let me put this up again. These icy white uniforms are absolutely filthy, dude. I love the gold numbers. They should do the gold numbers for everything. All right, this was put out courtesy of Vandy Football on X, at Vandy Football. If you want to see more, if you want to see the unveiling video. But the white helmets with the gold accents, this uniform, I think they should go LSU style. Just wear this one all the time. I love these. I'm a big fan of these. I like the all black ones too. And if they could bring back the matte black helmets with the anchor chain on them, and I don't care which V they go with, but if they could bring those back, that would be phenomenal. But these are elite, man. These are absolutely elite. And they crushed it with these uniforms. And I would say this no matter who it was. I used to not really like the all white uniforms. I used to think it was just kind of bland to wear white on white, but teams are starting to figure out how to make the white on white combo look pretty nasty. Oregon's figured out the way. Ole Miss has got some really good ones. Vandy now has some really good ones. If Georgia decided they wanted to, they would have some really good ones. Florida had some really good ones. I think LSU had some. It was kind of weird because I don't know, but they have some really good ones too. So these are filthy. I'm here for it all day long. So, and I'm wearing a white shirt today. What a coincidence. I was wearing the shirt before I saw that story. So just keep that in mind. But anyway, that's all we got for you here today. We're going to be back with you tomorrow as Vandy retakes the field for practice. Then we'll get you into the weekend, and then we're 1 week closer to opening day. So practice rages on, fall camp rages on. There's a scrimmage this Saturday. That'll be fun too. But until then, we'll see you back here tomorrow on the Locked On Vandy podcast. Thanks for making us part of your day. Anchor down, behave yourselves. Peace out.